live from Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room in Lawrence. Welcome to Hawk Talk with Kansas Athletic Director Jeff Long. In the next hour, we'll get an in-depth look into Kansas athletics. Hawk Talk with Jeff Long is brought to you by Delta Dental. Protect your healthy smile. Learn more about individual and family plans at deltadentalks.com. By the Kansas Lottery. Play any game through the Kansas Lottery and enter your winning and non-winning tickets onto the Play On app for a chance to win more. And by Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room. Serious craft brews. Seriously good food. Now, let's go live to Old Chicago. Alongside Jeff Long, here's the voice of the Jayhawks, Brian Haney.
Good evening and welcome into Hawk Talk with Jeff Long, our debut episode right here on the Jayhawks Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. We are coming at you live from our new home for Hawk Talk with Jeff Long, Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room. Beautiful new facility at 6th and Wakarusa, and it's almost standing room only right now, but we still have room for a few more if you want to stand in the back. So come on down. Listen to this awesome crowd. Give yourselves a hand. Thanks for being here tonight. Folks are fired up about the new leadership at Top Kansas Athletics, and we're going to spend the next 60 minutes talking all things Jayhawks here. If you want to get in on the conversation, though, and talk with our head Hawk, Athletics Director Jeff Long, you can text us at 234-25-HAWKS. That's 234-25-HAWKS. You can also submit questions and comments for Jeff anytime online throughout the week at kuathletics.com or Facebook and Twitter. We'll get to some of those audience questions, but also in-house questions from you, the fans that are with us tonight here in Lawrence. The top in-house question gets a 2-night stay at the Oriad Hotel, so it pays to join us here in person. That'll be a lot of fun. Jeff, great to see you. Thanks for all you're doing for Kansas Athletics.
Thank you. You know, this sounded thank you, everyone. Thanks for coming out tonight. This sounded great on paper. And now here in front of everybody, I'm a little bit nervous. But I have a secret weapon. Greg Gurley told me that if I felt nervous, just imagine him in his underwear, and that would break the ice. And trust me, it does. So I am totally relaxed now.
How about that? If I wasn't blinded by the lights, I'm really blinded by that image. But it's great to have Greg in the crowd tonight. We've got a lot of folks from Kansas Athletics and a lot of great fans out here as well. And this is a great idea to showcase you and your personality. I really respect the fact that you are a man of the Kansas people and wanting to get out and engage our fans. You're active with them on social media. You do a lot of stuff around campus, and this is just the latest chapter in making yourself available to our fan base. So we're going to have fun these next 5 months out here at Old Chicago.
Well, I hope so. You know, my thought on this was, you know, we have our coaches that do their shows, and you do great with Bill Self, and you'll do Les Miles, and Brandon's show just ended before. But, you know, we'll touch on those sports, but this is also an opportunity to talk about our program, talk about those other sports that maybe don't get the kind of attention that we would like. But, you know, I'm often reminded we have almost 500 student athletes in 18 sports, and they're all doing incredible things athletically, academically in our community. So if I can help raise the level of focus on them, I'm happy to do it, and that's really what's behind me wanting to do this show with you, Brian.
I love it. We've got nationally ranked men's and women's track and field teams, top 10 ranked tennis team. A lot of that stuff we'll cover tonight. And over these next 5 episodes, you get to see Jeff Long not just as the co-host but the interviewer, as we'll have special guests throughout the next 5 months, and you'll do some of the question asking. Tonight we have a chance to introduce to Jayhawk Nation for the first time Ryan White. Yes. Your new director of the Williams Education Fund, so this is going to be neat to hear from him around 7:30 tonight.
Great, yes. Ryan's here, and we'll get a chance to pepper him with some questions and get him used to this spotlight.
Exactly. He'll tell fans how they can join us in breaking the cycle and hopping on board as we do all kinds of great things in our future of Kansas athletics. But we'll also have fun with a new game. If you watch Bill Self's Hawk Talk on a weekly basis, we always spin the wheel, and we have celebrity recorded questions for Coach Self. Well, instead of kicking the bucket, we're going to be picking the bucket tonight. We've got 5 buckets, and underneath each bucket is a different ball that represents a different Kansas sport. And we've recorded fun questions for Jeff from some of his head coaches campus-wide. Bill Self's in one of the buckets, Rich Price, Mark Francis, Ray Bouchard, Todd Chapman. The list goes on and on. Whose bucket will he pick? We'll find out later tonight. That should be a lot of fun as well. But as always, we like to just start by kind of talking about what's going on and how lucky are we to be right in the thick of KU basketball season with your Jayhawks ranked as a top 15 team yet again, still in the hunt for 15 straight. You've been around Coach Self for about 7 months now. What have been your observations, and how blessed are we to have this man atop our program and this tradition?
I think initially after losing the game down at Texas Tech, I happened to turn on talk radio, and to have some people on there talking about how Bill Self couldn't coach and didn't know how to coach and couldn't win a game, I just had to laugh out loud. I mean, 14 straight. Again, you guys have all, those fans here, you've all grown accustomed to it, and you're used to Bill just winning every year no matter what the odds are. He's an incredible coach, and you all know that. I just look at this team. He's had 3 or 4 different teams to coach in one season. He started out the year with 2 big players he was going to be working inside. Dietrich was never going to be double-teamed, and, now he's double-teamed every night. And then, he had the young guards in play, but just think about the teams he started the year to coach and what he's coaching now and how he has them playing it and near the top of the league. So to still have a chance to win our 15th is just incredible to me.
It's remarkable. And, you've been all over Pittsburgh, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Michigan. Have you ever seen a team deal with as much adversity as they have, and as you said, reinvent themselves 3 or 4 times over, and yet still be in position to accomplish all of their goals as we head down the final week and a half of the season?
Yeah, no question. It's remarkable, the job he's done. And I think about it, and maybe you all talk about it, but the psychological part of coaching. Bill Self likes to be self-deprecating about, this, that, and the other. He's a genius when it comes to motivating players and getting players to blend and work together. And I've just marveled watching that from the sidelines, and just so impressed with his ability to relate to young people and get them to play. That's a challenge today.
Yep.
And that's a challenge, and the best coaches do it, and Bill obviously is one of the very best.
Completely agree. That's been exciting in this month of February. Also exciting was National Signing Day. How about the job Les Miles and his staff did in pulling off a great signing class in the 11th hour?
Well, no question. And we'll know how good that class is, 3 or 4 years down the road. But to come in that short period of time, especially with the early signing date in December now, that's an incredible challenge to bring in a totally new staff and try to recruit people that have been recruited for several years and then convince them to come to KU. We got a fine class out of this first group. We've already had more top-rated recruits on our campus since the signing day, juniors for next year, than most places have. And we had some great people on campus just last weekend.
And we're going to have great people on campus this weekend in the form of our season ticket holders that are taking part in a special official fan signing day where they get to kind of see it through a recruit's eyes and be a part of an on-campus tour, including the new indoor practice facility. This is an event that's already sold out. You initially limited it to 500 folks. You added 100 to 600. That's sold out. So you can't get in on this at this point, but I'm told to tell folks, if you're a season ticket holder for Kansas Jayhawk football and you missed out on this event this Saturday, talk to your Williams Fund or your ticket representative, and we'll try and get you to a spring practice. But I'll tell you what, the excitement is so palpable right now, not only on campus but across all of Jayhawk Nation, and this event is proof.
Well, no question. I have to give Chris Freet, our new deputy AD, a lot of credit. He has challenged that marketing staff to look at the world differently. And for our football team to be successful, to get our fans back, to get the pride back into our program, we've got to do things differently. We've got to look at things differently. And Chris has challenged them, and this is a great example. Doing this weekend, this ticket signing date is kind of like a recruit coming in for a Saturday visit. They're going to move around to different coaches, strength and conditioning, nutrition, all those different things that a recruit would hear about. And then at the end, Coach Miles will put the hard sell on them like he does in recruiting and get them to hopefully buy season tickets. So that's the idea. And you know what? Like we said, we wondered when they said, hey, we're going to cap it at 500. I'm like, oh, boy, I hope we get 100. We got 500, then we had to open it up longer to over 600, and I think we probably could have gone to 1,000 if we had room. But it's going to be an exciting event on Saturday. Excited to see those plans come to fruition and see the energy from the fans who show up to participate.
The energy is awesome, and no matter what level you want to get in on this and help us build it from the ground floor up, we want you. As a season ticket holder, as a Williams Fund contributor, we got Dana and Sue Anderson here, some of our biggest Jayhawk football supporters and Kansas Athletic supporters. We love you guys so much. Thanks for being here. It's an exciting time, and we'll talk with Ryan White later about how fans can get involved in helping us break the cycle and really achieve that consistent football success we've all been dreaming of. But tell me about the indoor football facility. I'm excited. I haven't had a chance to get over there yet. I've seen all the videos, but I hear it's fantastic.
It is, and I was out of town with basketball, and I understand Chancellor Girard went over. He was curious as to this new facility and heard we had opened it up, and Mike Vollmer stepped up and gave him a tour. It is fantastic to think that we now have this piece to the puzzle. And you know what? Jayhawk football, now we're one of the most efficient programs in the country because we've got the Anderson complex there right next to the Memorial Stadium, right next to our outdoor practice fields, and now our indoor field right there. The key with football today is efficiency. We have limited amount of time that we can spend with any of our student athletes, but it's really important in football because you have so many moving parts and so many positions and so many coaches. To be able to move fluidly and efficiently, we can get more work done in a shorter period of time because all of our facilities now are centrally located around football. And I think a lot of fans probably don't realize that, but this final piece really gives us all the elements for our football program to really build on and be successful.
That's terrific. Got the facilities, got the coach, got the head hawk with the vision to make this thing work. We're excited. We'll talk more football later in the show. But like you mentioned, we want to get to all the sports that we can squeeze into 1 hour here tonight. So let's step aside for our first time out. If you'd like to interact with the show, text us 234-25-HAWKS is the text line. Old Chicago has great lunch specials like 2-topping pizzas and unlimited salad for $8.99 Monday through Friday. Old Chicago, serious craft brews, seriously good food. More coming up with Jeff Long. It's Hawk Talk on the Jayhawk Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Hi.
I'm not letting you in. No more apps.
But I can let you gain Kansas lottery points. Enter second chance drawings, win more. Points can go to any prize you want.
Any prize?
Yeah. Play on, man.
Okay, you can come in. But don't ask me to update you right away.
I mean, we hardly know each other.
Oh, right.
With the Play On app, you can gain more points and win more. See kslottery.com for details.
When we were caregiving for Grandma and Grandpa in their room, they wanted a certain temperature, and you could regulate and keep their temperature in that room instead of all of us sweating bullets in the house.
Kate's servicemen really understood our needs. We spoke to them about the grandparents' room. They wanted that one room very, very warm, and they were able to accomplish that. We know when we walk in the door, the temperature's going to be right where we like it. So it's been wonderful having Kate's heating and cooling. We love it.
Diagnostic Imaging Centers has always been at the forefront of new technology, delivering innovative solutions to patients for more than 50 years, right here in Kansas City. From the bumps and bruises of childhood to the joys of starting your very own family and the peace of mind you get from a routine screening, Diagnostic Imaging Centers is building the future so you can focus on yours.
Here in Kansas, we're blessed with an abundance of oil and natural gas energy, as well as many other natural resources. Some folks say that producing oil and natural gas harms our farms and ranches.
The truth is, oil and gas leasing and production are vital to sustaining Kansas farms and ranches from one generation to the next. We work together, and over the past 40 years, there has not been a single instance of groundwater pollution from hydraulic fracturing or injection wells in Kansas by our industry. Get the facts at kansasstrong.com.
You may not hear it at first, but it's there. Our chant, rising. On this summit, callings converge, voices unify into a chorus that sounds out for good, for greatness. Can you hear it?
Lightfoot backing down on Wade, spins, goes up, gets the bucket to go, and the foul. A chance at a three-point play for Mitch Lightfoot. It's a highlight from KU's win in the Dillon Sunflower Showdown on Monday. Welcome back to Hawk Talk with Jeff Long, our brand new show here on the Jayhawks Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. We're coming to you live tonight from Old Chicago, 6th and Wakarusa, Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room. Come on down and join us. We'd love to see you. And since we had the clip there from the big men's basketball win on Monday, Jeff, what's it been like, your first taste of Allen Fieldhouse these last 4 months? Pretty special place.
It is. I keep wondering if I would be removed as AD if I wore earplugs in Allen Fieldhouse. I mean, oh my gosh, that sound is incredible. I mean, it goes through your body. I mean, it's so intense. But, you know, it's hard to describe that feeling in Allen Fieldhouse when it's a critical time and that fan base and those students are just going crazy. It's hard to describe it. You know, I've worked at a lot of places. There have been a lot of big crowds, but this is unique and it's special. And special is probably not the right word, but it is really something that is extraordinary.
Absolutely. I was just going to say, you've been to all the best venues in the Big East from your time at Pittsburgh, in the SEC when you were at Arkansas, in the Big Ten, obviously, from your Michigan days. Is this, as we all believe it to be, as the cathedral of college basketball, is this the best arena in the world?
You know, I think so. You know, I worked at Duke. I've been in Cameron Indoor Stadium. I've been a lot of these arenas across the country working in all those, but it is without compare.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. Well, we'll talk more basketball later in the show, but like we said, with the new Jeff Long Hawk Talks, we want to have an opportunity to spotlight a lot of the other programs that wouldn't normally get some run on the Jayhawk Network. And right now, the top team on the totem pole, ranked 7th in all the land, is Todd Chapman's tennis team.
Yeah, Todd has just done an incredible job. I got a chance to watch him sweep the Air Force Academy a couple Sundays back, and I wasn't in town when they swept out the Arkansas Razorbacks, but I was enjoying that following on Twitter. So that 7-0 beatdown was quite enjoyable to me. But, no, Todd and his team are extraordinary. And, you know, the facility gives us a chance out there. If you talk to Todd, you know, what's the difference? I mean, he's had a good, steady program, good program. What's made the difference? The facility. He's now able to recruit, second to none. And it's a beautiful facility, and they have great access to it. And he's recruiting at a high level, and that's what it takes. You know, that's how you build the winner. But I've been so impressed with him and just their dominance right now. But as you know, now we're getting ready to hit the Big 12 season, and we've got 4 or 5 teams that are all ranked in the top 25. So the competition is going to be tough in the Big 12, but it's exciting, and that competition, because it's so high, will set us up for postseason play, NCAA tournament.
And I think they're ready for it. In that 8-1 record, 7 of the wins have come against ranked teams, right?
That's right. Todd's got them playing against top-level opponents before we get to the Big 12, because I think he knew he had a really good team, and he wanted to prepare them. So, yeah, I think we stack up really well. This could be a record-setting year for women's tennis.
We've already matched the record for the highest national ranking for women's tennis, going all the way back to 1994, the last time we were ranked 7th. So kudos to Coach Chapman, Coach Lilly as well, his assistant. They're doing a fabulous job, aren't they?
They really are.
Well, let's talk about some other sports going on right now. Swimming and diving, not only excelling in the pool, and more on the pool involving you, my friend, but also excelling in the classroom. How about a 3.7 team GPA?
Yeah, record-breaking. I mean, that's the highest team GPA for any team in our history since we've been keeping records. So they're a phenomenal group of young women. And then you add the fact, I think, entering today or this evening, they were number 2 at the Big 12 championships that are going on right now down in Austin. So they're battling Texas for the number 1 spot down there. So that's really exciting. Really great.
They've set a couple of records already in the 800-yard freestyle relay and doing it, as I said, both in the classroom and in the pool. But you join them, and this is just kind of your personality. First time I ever had a chance to hang out with Jeff, we were hanging out at a donor's house in Wichita who happened to have a fire pole that took you from the top level of the house all the way down to the bottom level. And he turned to me just off the cuff. We'd known each other for all of 10 seconds, and he says, "Hey, Voice, you want to go down the pole?" And I'm like, new boss? I guess I better say yes. And so we did. And next thing I know, you're sliding down the pole. In the last 7 months, I've seen you slide down poles, hop in pools, hitting reverse basketball shots over your head. Tell me about the pool, though. What prompted you to jump in with your suit on?
Well, you know, honestly, and again, I I do read Twitter a little bit, and some people say, well, look at Jeff Long, he's making it about him. But what they miss, it really isn't about me. When you're almost 60 years old and you're trying to relate and talk with kids that are 17 to 22 or whatever, I'm constantly trying to find some ways to relate to them or to get their attention so they know the athletic director cares about them, not just as athletes, but as students and as people. And you know what? They set an incredible record. They set a record, right? And we did a recognition on the field house floor, but as it turned out, it's when they were traveling for an away game. So, they not only did they set the record and have the greatest GPA, they didn't even get to bask in that glow on Allen Fieldhouse Court. So, I wanted to do something to let them know that we cared, that we're paying attention. We know that's important. So, I just kind of came up with the idea that I'd take a swim with them. So they weren't expecting it. I got the reaction I had hoped, and I think it'll be something they never forget, that their AD was so proud of their academic achievement that he's decided to go for a swim.
That's fabulous. I've heard about some of the great celebrations you've done with student athletes at previous stops like Arkansas, with Arkansas women's soccer and a few other things along the way. What would you say is the most outrageous, in-the-moment thing you did to show the student athletes how much you care?
How about, I know the dumbest thing I did.
What was the dumbest?
I took the ice bucket challenge.
Oh,
right?
yes.
Right? No,
For
no.
ALS.
Do you think I just took the ice bucket and poured it over my head? No. I needed to jump into a total ice bath that the athletes use, right? So I go in full body.
Nice.
I think my heart jumped out of my head. I made sure they had the paddles handy.
Sure.
Because that was a shock I was not expecting. That was truly the dumbest thing I did to get a reaction out of the student athletes. But it worked, and my heart didn't jump out of my chest, so I'm okay.
Awesome stuff. Well, for what it's worth, I love how much you engage the fans through social media. And if they want to follow you on Twitter, how do they do that?
It's Jeff Long, KU.
KU, there you go, on Twitter. Very good. When we come back, we'll dive into some audience questions. We've got some email questions as well we'll get to. Then we'll have a chance to talk some Williams Fund a little bit later as Ryan White joins us, our new Senior Associate Athletics Director for Development and at the Williams Education Fund. He'll be talking about how you can join in helping us take Kansas athletics to the next level. So that's about 10 minutes away. More coming up. It's Hawk Talk live from Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room on the Jayhawks Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
deflected. Kapanich takes away. Hustle. Here comes Kapanich to the line, to the lane, to the glass. Right side, lay it up and in. An 8-point first quarter for Kylie Kapanich.
Jimmy Chavez on the call of KU women's basketball highlights right there. Welcome back to Hawk Talk with Jeff Long, our debut episode here on the Jayhawks Sports Network, coming to you from Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room. Old Chicago is the home of late night, Sunday through Thursday from 10 p.m. to midnight. Pints, pub appetizers, and pizzas, all starting at $3. Old Chicago, serious craft beers, seriously good food. We're kind of bouncing around the campus right now, talking about different sports with our head Hawk, athletics director Jeff Long. And how about nationally ranked men's and women's track and field? The men 12th, the women 17th right now. You got 6 women and 4 men earning berths in the NCAA Indoor Track and Field Championships in Birmingham next week. This is an exciting time yet again for kind of a perennial powerhouse that Stanley Redwine's built.
Yeah, Stanley's done a heck of a job. And, you know, I had a chance to be in Lubbock at the same time as the track championships with the men's basketball game. So I got to watch our teams compete and see Sharon Locady do her double victory. I think it's the 3,000 and 5,000 that she won, and that really finishes her career because I don't think she has an outdoor season remaining. I think that finished her Big 12 career because she had redshirted for the indoor. So she'll be running, I think, two events at nationals as well. And so excited about her. She's had an incredible track career. She really has. She
could finish as an All-American for the 4th time.
Yeah, 4 times.
Remarkable.
It's crazy. It is remarkable. And you know, to have 2 top 25 or top 20 programs is outstanding. And, you know, we put a lot of emphasis, or we've begun to put a lot of emphasis on the Director's Cup and how we finish in that. And that Director's Cup is how we rank all of your sports on a season basis. Right. And so we've challenged ourselves to finish in the top 35 in the nation. You know, there are some 300 schools competing at the Division I level, and so we've challenged ourselves to be at 35. We've been around 50 for a number of years, and so, but I think we can do it. I don't know if we'll get there this year, but we're going to begin to really build upon that and make that stress that point with our student athletes and coaches.
I like where you've set that bar. On the men's side, Hussein Al-Hazam, who's now a senior, and he was last year's national champion in the indoor for pole vault. He'll be defending that crown next week, so we'll be cheering him on. But as we said, Coach Redwine does a great job every year. And I think right now we're seeing several of his student athletes kind of at the apex of their swan song senior seasons, hoping that they finish in style down in Birmingham.
Yeah, you know, track and cross country and track and field is a really a never-ending sport. You know, we have the cross country in the fall. We roll right into the indoor season, and shortly after indoor finishes in Birmingham, we'll start on that outdoor season and finish in June. So,
really excited about what they're building there. Well, let's take some audience questions. Great crowd out here tonight. Thank you so much for showing up.
Coming out.
Great to have you with us. Bob is with us tonight in the front row. He wants to know, Jeff, what's the biggest surprise for you in moving to Lawrence and KU?
You know, I'll go back to when the position opened, and I became aware of it. You know, and I'd only been to Kansas like one time for a football game, and you know, when you come in for a game, you're just kind of in and out, and you don't really see the town. So, you know, I didn't remember much about Lawrence, and as my wife and I looked at our next chapter for us as empty nesters, you know, we wanted to go to a town where we could be, you know, a couple again with all the children out of the house, and so I just got in the car and drove up here. Drove up the 4 hours from Arkansas just to drive around, and what hit me immediately and made me fall in love is that, you know, it is hilly. There is topography. There is, you know, different landscape. I had in my mind that it might be flat like Norman, Oklahoma, and I don't know if anybody's listening in Norman, but it's flat.
It is
very flat.
I worked in Lubbock for 4 years, also very flat.
That's very flat and very dusty.
Yes.
But no, the beauty of the Oriat and this area and the trees and the hills and the way it all comes together in a beautiful college town. Again, I'm partial to college towns because I've spent my entire life in them. one way or another. And this is an incredible college town. And it has a lot of character to it.
Really does.
You know, Mass Street is a really cool place. Out here on the west side is really cool. Lake Clinton out there is a really cool place. So there's a lot of great things here. And, you know, I would just say all of it kind of surprised me because I wasn't sure what Lawrence, Kansas was all about.
Bob, thanks for the question. Jeff, thanks for the answer. We'll take more audience questions in just a second. But we also have our text line, 234-25-HAWKS. And this text question from the 785, we didn't get a name on it, but texter wanted to know about your transition, similar topic. But he said, what was the challenge in going from a powerhouse football conference like the SEC to now a powerhouse men's basketball school like Kansas? What's been the challenge in that transition?
Well, first of all, I'm one that, and I've always believed this, having worked at the number of schools that I have, is there's no reason why you can't have a strong football program and a strong basketball program. There's nothing that says because Bill Self's won 14 championships that you can't have a strong football program. So, I mean, I know that's a narrative out there in some of the media and some fan base, but in my view, it's simply not true. I mean, it's a function of dedicating the resources, getting the right people in place, and building the program. So, you know, I don't think the challenge is just that we haven't been successful, and we haven't put the resources to it. I think we've begun to do that, again, with the help of our fan base, our donors, the people who believe what we're trying to do, what we're trying to accomplish. They're investing in the program, and we'll be able to put that money right into the program. And, you know, we've expanded that staff that Coach Miles has to work with, and, you know, the previous staffs didn't have that commitment.
Right.
We've got it now. That's what's going to make the difference, and it's going to take our fans and all of us coming together to support this. But I also have to remind people, none of this investment in football is at the expense of the men's basketball program, women's basketball program, any of our other 18 sports. It's not at their expense. It's in addition to.
Sure.
And that's why it's been so critical to have the Break the Cycle fund that people have been contributing to for our football program.
And to put some extra numbers on that, this is something Jeff and I have talked about throughout the fall, but you came in your first 3 months and identified strengths and weaknesses and how do we compare to the schools we're competing against in the Big 12 Conference, and you found out, not even comparing Kansas to the Oklahomas and Texases of the Big 12, but somebody like, say, Iowa State, who's got a great program, but maybe not the resources that the Longhorns and Sooners would have. You identified right away that they had 14 extra full-time football employees, whether they be an offensive analyst or an extra film coordinator or something like that. And in football season, that equated to about 1,000 extra man and woman hours in a given week's preparation. And so I love it that you gave us the quality of coaches with Les Miles and the great staff he's assembled, but you've gone after the quantity as well to allow us to compete when there was a pretty significant discrepancy there prior to your arrival.
There was, and I think, you know, again, the numbers are, you know, don't quote me on, but we were spending somewhere $2 million less per year than the next lowest football program in the Big 12. Okay, and then we had anywhere from 8 to 12 to 14 less people, man hours, woman hours, working in football in our football program. So, you know what, as we went out to look for a coach, the thing I knew they would be asking is, well, what's Kansas's commitment? What commitment are you going to make to football? Why should I come there and be your head coach if you don't have a commitment? So I knew in advance we had to build that commitment out for them, show them that commitment, and then I think having a chancellor on board from the top to say football's important, our athletic program is important, we want this team to be successful, and really having those resources to be able to tell Coach Miles and the others that we interviewed, hey, here's the resources we're putting in. This is how you're going to be able to be successful here at Kansas.
Love the vision, and when we come back, we're going to hear from a guy that you brought on to help us raise these funds and carry this vision out onto the football field. He's Ryan White. He's our new Senior Associate Athletics Director for Development and the Director of the Williams Education Fund. Stay tuned. You'll get a chance to see him for the first time when we come back. We're at Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room, 6th and Wakarusa here in West Lawrence. If you can't join us tonight, make it a habit to come out each and every month because we'll be here for the next 5 months with your head Hawk, Jeff Long. More coming up on the Jayhawks Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Diagnostic Imaging Centers has always been at the forefront of new technology, delivering innovative solutions to patients for more than 50 years, right here in Kansas City. From the bumps and bruises of childhood to the joys of starting your very own family and the peace of mind you get from a routine screening. Diagnostic Imaging Centers is building the future so you can focus on yours.
When you believe, you inspire. When you love, you dream. When you breathe, you create. When you laugh, you cry. And when you're reliable, you trust. Capital Federal, predictably true blue.
A smile, such a simple gesture, an effortless contraction of muscles, a flash of teeth. Healthy smiles have the power to spread joy, courage, and love. When you smile, it transforms you and the world around you. So if you feel the urge, go ahead and use that simple gesture to spread joy. Keep your smile healthy and strong. Choose Delta Dental for your individual or family plan, protecting more smiles than anyone.
Hello, Kansas. We're your energy industry. In the past, we've shown you beautiful slow-motion images of gorgeous Kansas sunsets, basketball games, and other images that promote our industry. But right now, it's important that you know the facts.
Like the fact that during the past 40 years, there has not been a single instance of groundwater pollution from hydraulic fracturing or injection wells in Kansas by our industry. We respect our state and its natural resources. Get the facts at kansasstrong.com.
Did you get your new Truity Visa card yet? You'll save money with 1.99 APR for 15 months. That's right, 1.99 APR with any new Truity Visa card. This rate's good on all purchases and cash advances for the first 15 months. What are you waiting for? Start saving money today. TruityCU.org/credit cards. With approved credit, come in or go online for details.
Rebound kept alive by Lawson, though. He tipped it to himself. Lobs to Dotson. He'll try a three and make a three. Devon Dotson from downtown. And the Jayhawk lead is 13.
What a big win for Kansas basketball in the Dillon Sunflower Showdown on Monday. Your Jayhawks are back in action on Saturday at 11 at Oklahoma State. And we have a special guest we're going to talk to in just a second, Ryan White, our Senior Associate Athletics Director for Development. But real quickly, as we welcome you back to Hawk Talk with Jeff Long, how about Devon Dotson? Do you love that freshman as much as I do? This kid's amazing.
He's lightning. There's not very many people that can keep up with him just running while he dribbles the basketball.
No kidding.
He's amazing.
He really is. Well, I think our next guest has a reputation for being pretty amazing, at least up in Ohio. We're excited to see what he can do as a Jayhawk. We've got a new hire, and why don't I let you introduce him, and then we'll start with the line of questioning. But we're really excited to make Ryan White a Jayhawk.
You know, Ryan is his father was an athletic administrator, was the athletic director at North Texas.
Correct.
Is that correct? But we're very happy to get him. And you know what? He's really happy to be here because I rescued him from Ohio University in southwestern Ohio. So I just can't wait to hear about how fortunate and how much he's thankful that I brought him here. So, Ryan, could you share a little bit of that with us?
Yeah, exactly. I was going to ask you, what about Jeff Long in Kansas attracted you to this fit?
Well, those of you that know Jeff or even don't know Jeff, Jeff has an amazing reputation around the country as being one of the best athletic directors around. And so in this business, absolutely. In this business, it takes a lot of connections to get to certain places. And a previous boss of mine actually is good friends with Jeff. And I had never really met Jeff personally, but when I met with Jeff on the interview process and during the interview process, his vision for where he wants to take this program immediately sold me, and I think it sold the football staff and the coaches. And so I'm just really honored and privileged to be a part of this great staff.
We're thrilled to have you. That's for
good
sure.
answer. Good answer. Fine answer.
And I'm sure in part of the interview process, Jeff told you about the Break the Cycle campaign and what we're trying to do with Kansas Jayhawk football. And proud to mention that right now of the $25 million goal, we've already got 11 contributed, which is outstanding. But share with us a little bit about your vision in contributing to that and how fans can get involved in helping us break the cycle.
Absolutely. Yeah, the Break the Cycle campaign is extremely important for our athletics program. Many of you probably remember a campaign that briefly kicked off that was $350 million. We were going to renovate the football stadium and do some other things. And I think, Jeff and the other leadership, we're talking about, maybe taking that a different direction. We needed to invest in the program operationally, as Jeff mentioned earlier. We needed to get the staff size up. We needed to invest more money in travel. And so that campaign will really help us get a foundation for this football program so that once we start to win, hopefully sooner rather than later, we can go and do some of those projects. But the staff has done an amazing job, and thanks to many of you in this audience and those of you listening, we really appreciate everything that you've done for that campaign. It's extremely important, but I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about our annual fund. So those of you that don't know, we raise about a little over $20 million a year, which is pretty incredible. Of that $20 million, a lot of that is what we call transactional giving, people that give for seating and parking and those type of benefits. And I think one of the things that Jeff and I have talked about is moving forward, we've got Jayhawks. The Jayhawk community is all over the country, right? And so we've got people in California and New York and North Carolina that have no intention of maybe coming back for a game but want to support our program and get on board. And my plea to you would be, you don't have to give $10,000 to make an impact. We have giving levels that start at $100 all the way to $50,000. Find a place where you can support and give back, and just know that we greatly appreciate it. Last but not least, sorry, Brian, one other thing that I would mention too is we're last in the conference as well as we raise money. Because of you folks, we're actually last in the conference in terms of number of donors that we actually have. So we've got 4,600 donors. We have a goal of 10,000 to hit in the next couple of years. And when I started here, Jeff said, Ryan, there is no honeymoon. You started before you even started. So we're going to get after it. So if you're not a donor, I would encourage you to get involved. And if you are a donor, find a friend, encourage them to get involved, and we'd appreciate it.
Well, Ryan's a tremendous professional, and one of the reason that attracted to me is he has built programs from all levels. As we talk about, there's the annual fund giving, there's philanthropic, there's capital giving. But can you tell us a little bit about some of the ways that you think we can grow that broad base of Jayhawk support? As you point out, we raise a tremendous amount of money on a very few number of donors. So what we're looking for is to try to expand that base. And what are some of your thoughts and ideas on how we can excite donors to join us across the spectrum?
Yeah. And I think the one thing you got to have is you got to have passion, you got to have affinity to the sports program, and fortunately we have that here. And so I think the challenge for us is probably being more external. It's going down to Texas and meeting personally with these folks, these Jayhawks who believe in what we're doing and believe in the program and want to help. And it's not about a basketball ticket, it's not about a football ticket. And as Jeff talked about, there's so many different opportunities to support, whether that be through our annual fund that covers our entire scholarship bill that we pay every year. It also supports operational funds that we need for our programs. And, there's people that have set up endowments for scholarship or operational support. There's folks that have made provisions in their will through a planned gift. There's just a lot of ways, and I think we've got to do a better job as a staff to educate our alumni on ways they can give back to our program and also give back to the university. So
Awesome stuff.
Great.
We've been chatting with Ryan White. He's our new Senior Associate Athletics Director for Development. As you'll find out in the weeks ahead on Jeff Long's Hawk Talk, whoever our featured guest is, they get the last laugh or the last say by asking the final question, and they turn that question and direct it at their boss.
I wasn't aware of this segment of the show.
Should have gone over that. My apologies. But here's Ryan's opportunity to ask his new boss a question. The only stipulation is we try and make it fun, not business related.
Yep. So Jeff's been in the college athletics world for a while. And so my question, which is always kind of an icebreaker question that I ask a lot of people, if you were not working in college athletics as an AD or any sort of capacity, what would you be doing today?
Without question, I think I set out to be a high school coach and administrator. So I would have been coaching high school baseball, football, basketball. I loved them all. So I think I would have been teaching basic business and coaching. So that's what I started out. That was my first dream job.
And you were the Bo Jackson of Ohio Wesleyan, right? Two sports
I think
stars?
that's what they called me. Yeah.
Jeff knows football. Jeff knows baseball.
Well, Jeff, I'm glad that didn't work out for you and that you're AD here. And, again, I just really appreciate the opportunity to serve you, the donors, the alumni, and look forward to getting to know many of you. It's only been 2 weeks, but I feel like the community has embraced me and my family, and we're just excited to get settled and get going with this stuff.
Ryan, we're thrilled you're here.
Thank
Ryan
you, Brian.
White, everybody. Give it up for your new
Jeff.
Senior Associate Athletics Director for Development. When we come back, we're picking the bucket. Not kicking, we're picking a bucket. A new fun game with Jeff Long, our head Hawk, on Hawk Talk with Jeff Long. Live from Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room, 6th and Wakarusa. It's the Jayhawks Sports Network from Learfield, IMG College.
Is going to bring it in from the right baseline. Pounds the ball, looking, lobs it for Austin Richardson. Caught with 3, turns with 2, head of the key, long shot is good. It's a 2-pointer at the buzzer. Nice shot by Austin Richardson with the clock winding down.
More KU women's basketball highlights. Welcome back to Hawk Talk with Jeff Long, coming to you tonight from Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room, 6th and Wakarusa, here in West Lawrence. Brian Haney and Jeff Long with you in just a second. A fun new game for our Hawk Talk with Jeff Long. But first off, it was great to have Ryan White up here. And I know folks a lot of times hear about capital campaigns or chances to give, and the thing we really want to drive home is, this is the lifeblood of our athletic department. This is what allows us to give these 460 student athletes so many great opportunities both in the classroom and on the field.
Well, thank you, Brian. Yes, and I feel sometimes I'm talking a lot about fundraising and selling and ticket buying, but all of that is key. It is critical. It is important. But I hope our fans know we're putting that back into our program so we can have a higher quality program, not only for wins and losses, but building a program for those student athletes to get that get their degree, graduate, and go on and be great, successful Jayhawks in the future.
And boy, are they ever getting those degrees. We got to talk some academic success before we play our game here. How about your student athletes setting a department record with a combined GPA of 3.11, 311 in the fall of 2018? That is awesome stuff.
It really is. It really is. When you take I have a hard time taking 470 or 80 students off campus and put them together and say, have a 3.1 GPA. It's incredible. But we're not done there. We've set a goal inside our department for a 3.25, so we're going to keep pushing for that, and we have the student athletes to do that. We challenge them to do their personal best. Just like they do in their athletic competition, we want them to do their personal best. We're challenging them to do that academically as well. Don't settle. Don't settle for a B when you know you could strive a little bit more and get the A. So we challenge them to do their very best.
277 student athletes on the athletic director's honor roll. That's amazing. And then how about this? 4 Kansas teams registered a 100% graduation rate, including women's golf, women's basketball and tennis, and your men's basketball Jayhawks as well. How about that? That's awesome stuff. All right, well, if you watch Bill Self's Hawk Talk, we always start to wind down the show by spinning the wheel, and we have these celebrity-recorded questions from ESPN guys, former players, all that. We couldn't just take the wheel over here from our friends at Johnny's Tavern to Old Chicago. We had to come up with something new, and so rather than kicking the bucket, we're picking the bucket. Underneath these 5 buckets, we've got a ball that represents a different Kansas sport. We have 18 teams on campus at KU. Could be any of the 18. I've recorded a fun question for Jeff Long from the head coach of that respective sport. During the commercial break, I felt like I was like one of those street guys that does the shell game trying to win $5, and we moved them all around and we mixed the buckets up and the balls and all that, but we are ready. You get to pick a bucket and hear a question, Jeff.
I am a little nervous about this because, I don't know what my coaches might be asking.
You might ask for a raise or something. You never know.
How about right in the middle?
Right in the middle?
There we
Baseball.
go.
Baseball.
Okay, what's Skip got to say?
Baseball means Rich Price. And full disclosure, when we recorded this question that has a little something to do with Bryce Harper, we didn't know Bryce Harper was going to be a Philly. Yeah. I think he referenced him as a Dodger in this hypothetical question. But here's our head baseball coach, the dean of Big 12 baseball coaches, Rich Price.
Mr. Long, this is Rich Price, baseball coach, University of Kansas. I got a quick question for you. I know that Brady Hoke was the catcher on your high school team, and you were the #1 pitcher. And I'm going to take you back to the great movie Major League, where Jake Taylor goes to the mound and says to Ricky Vaughn, this is the out you waited for your whole life. So to take away from that great movie, I want to set this picture for you. You're at Kauffman Stadium. It's Game 7. The bases are loaded, and you lead 3-2. Ned Yost goes to the mound, and he calls for the right-hander out of the bullpen. So when Jeff Long walks to the mound and Salvador Perez walks up to him and says, this is the out you've been waiting for your whole life. But the hitter for the Los Angeles Dodgers in Game 7 at Kauffman Stadium is Bryce Harper. I want to know what your pitching plan would be and how you would attack the best hitter in baseball.
Oh,
that's a great question. This is how This is how much sport means to me. As he's describing it, I'm getting chills down my back and my neck and picturing myself on the mound getting ready to do this, all right? So I am a junkie in that. Well, first, I put one right under his chin just to let him make – right here.
Right here.
I wouldn't hit him because I know I don't want to force him in.
You got to brush him back a little bit.
Yeah, get
Don't
him back,
crowd that plate.
make him comfortable, you know. But I'd get a couple – he'd foul a couple off, but then I'd bring the big breaking ball, and he would just – come out of his shoes, and it would drop. It dropped like this.
12-6.
Off the table. That's how it would go.
Literally off the table.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's how I get him.
Was that your pitch back in the day?
Yeah, I had a pretty good 12-6 curveball.
How about that?
For Division III Ohio Wesleyan.
Great question, Coach Price. Best of luck to the Jayhawks. They're heading down to Texas as we speak. Yeah. Nice job, Jeff. Really good stuff. More coming up. Hawk Talk with Jeff Long, live from the Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room, right after this on the Jayhawk Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
When we were caregiving for Grandma and Grandpa in their room, they wanted a certain temperature, and you could regulate and keep their temperature in that room instead of all of us sweating bullets in the house.
Kate's servicemen really understood our needs. We spoke to them about the grandparents' room. They wanted that one room very, very warm, and they were able to accomplish that. We know when we walk in the door, the temperature's going to be right where we like it. So it's been wonderful having Kate's heating and cooling. We love it.
It's times like these when you've got to stay centered. The 2018 Nissan Rogue, with available Pro Pilot Assist that can help keep you centered in your lane. Experience it only at your local Nissan store. Now the most exciting tech you own is in your driveway.
Get to Nissan, proud supporter of college athletics.
Hi. I'm not letting you in. No more apps.
But I can let you gain Kansas lottery points. Enter second chance drawings, win more. Points can go to any prize you want.
Any prize?
Yeah. Play on, man.
Okay, you can come in. But don't ask me to update you right away.
I mean, we hardly know each other.
Oh, right.
With the Play On app, you can gain more points and win more. CKSLottery.com for details.
Charlie Moore at the top. Moore dribbling. Flings to Mitch. Mitch wants a three. He buried one. Mitch Lightfoot having the game of his life. And this joint is jumping in the fog. How about Mitch Lightfoot the other night? Clutch Lightfoot, as we like to call him, or Prison Mitch, which is a popular nickname amongst the students.
How about that green tongue he had? He was eating some energizing Gatorade over there.
Really?
And he stuck out that tongue after that three, and it was green.
It was green.
I don't know if anybody else noticed that. But
That's awesome. Great detail there. We're supposed to paint a picture. I didn't see that. That was good. All right, we've got enough time for one more audience question. This is going to be our question of the night. The asker of this question receives a 2-night stay at the Oriad Hotel. Colin Couch, congratulations. Our top question of the night. He says, A.D. Jeff Long, what was your favorite sport growing up as a kid, and who were some of your heroes in that sport?
Well, you know, it's hard for me to pick because, you know, through the first part of my high school career, I played football, basketball, and baseball. And if I was good enough at basketball, I would have stayed playing basketball. I wasn't good enough. But, you know, I was, again, football, baseball, basketball, I loved them all. You know, I think about baseball. because the MLB just had a documentary on Johnny Bench, the catcher for the Reds. So, you know, I grew up in Ohio, so during the time of the Big Red Machine. Now, I'm a Royals fan now, so don't get upset with me, but I grew up a Reds fan, and, you know, Johnny Bench, Pete Rose, Davey Concepcion, all those guys were heroes in baseball.
Great answer. Colin, excellent question. You're the big winner here tonight. Congratulations, Colin Couch. Hey, we had a fabulous turnout for our first ever Hawk Talk with Jeff Long. We will see you next month, March the 19th, once again right here at Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room. Jeff, thanks so much.
Thanks for coming out, everybody.
Jeff Long, the head Hawk, everybody, on the Jayhawks Sports Network.
You've been listening to Hawk Talk with Kansas Athletic Director Jeff Long on the Jayhawks Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. Tonight's show has been brought to you by Delta Dental. Protect your healthy smile. Learn more about individual and family plans at deltadentalks.com. By the Kansas Lottery. Play any game through the Kansas Lottery and enter your winning and non-winning tickets onto the Play On app for a chance to win more. And by Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room. Serious craft brews, seriously good food. The preceding has been a Learfield IMG College presentation of the Jayhawks Sports Network.